Being a parent is a full-time job, and if you're also running a business, leading a team, or just trying to keep your head above water, it can feel like there's never a break. In this episode, we're sitting down to talk about working parenthood, what it's really like to juggle deadlines, meetings, and bedtime stories, how we make it work, or sometimes don't, and the lessons parenthood have taught us that actually translate to running a business. From the chaos of mornings to the triumphs of tiny wins, we're keeping it real about life as parents in the professional world. Welcome to Behind the Brand, the podcast for small business owners, solopreneurs, and aspiring entrepreneurs who are ready to start strong, stand out, and stay bold. I'm Taylor.
I'm Kelly.
And I'm Isabella, and we're part of the powerhouse team of marketers at Moxie Creative.
We're taking you behind the scenes to explore what it takes to build and grow a memorable brand.
Ready to get behind the brand? Let's dive in. Hello, Moxieverse. Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Brand. Taylor here, and joined, of course, by my right-hand lady,
Yo.
Kelly Kane, and everybody's favorite Moxie, Mr. Mo.
Mo Moxie.
Hi.
So today we're going to talk about something that's maybe a little bit, I don't want to say untraditional because it's not like we've been doing this podcast for like a long time where it would be a tradition, but we've never maybe really dove into something that's a little bit more personal. We've talked about work-life balance, so kind of scraped the surface, but this really came to me
What are we talking about?
We're talking about parenting in the
Okay.
workplace. And this came to me as an idea yesterday because I had a sick little boy and I had a important meeting with a client that I could not miss. And so I reached out to both of you sitting here and I said, hey, who can help me with my son while I need to go do this? And both of you so kindly said, yeah, we can do that. And Colt ended up hanging out here for, 2 hours while I was with the client with Mo and Tyler. And it was just like a really cool moment to me that was like, it's really hard to be a working parent and I just wouldn't be able to do it without a support system, and you guys are included in that. So I think there are a lot of people that maybe
I charge
feel that
$20 an hour to babysit.
Okay, take it on my check. I think there are a lot of people that probably feel that way, and it can feel like a lonely place. And so I thought we could just chit chat about our experiences. We all have kind of different experiences. Kelly, you have adult children, 24 and 22?
23 and 21.
Okay, I was close. Yeah, so you have adult children. You're an empty nester, but still very much giving all you can to your kids. I have 2 little kids. Mo, you also have 2 little kids, but you're a dad. You're not a mom.
Yeah.
So, it's different. And so I just thought it would be really fun to like talk about our experiences as being working parents. And I didn't mean that in a negative way because I also think you are an exceptional working father.
He's like a second mom.
Yeah, like I just love, like I remember one of the first times that you had working with you and you had to leave because one of the girls was sick. And I was just like, I really love that it didn't just fall back on your wife.
Yeah,
to, like,
it doesn't
take care
always.
Of the kids.
She usually,
Right,
75% of the time, I think.
And that, is kind of similar in my situation too. I'm trying to make it more that way. Yeah, Kelly rolls her eyes. I'm trying. We're trying. But I thought it would be.
I didn't say anything. I don't know what I'm getting yelled at here.
Oh, you can see it all over your
You're
face.
the ones who had the kids. It's your fault.
But anyway, so I thought it would be just a fun little thing to kind of talk about today.
All right, let's do it.
I already set the stage. And this is not really, anything to like give advice really, but just to be open and honest and funny and relatable. So, Kelly, you have been a working parent for a lot longer than Mo and I have.
Yep.
23 years. So how has that maybe changed, from when you first had kids? What was the landscape like to now when you have employees that have children and you're trying to...
It was different. It was a lot different. Wasn't maybe right, but it was different. I had a male boss, and he said, I hear you want to have kids. And I said, yeah. And he said, don't make it my problem. Don't make your pregnancy my problem. So I started the pregnancy out with extreme morning sickness, having to be at work. I know this is hard to understand, at 8 o'clock. And if I came in at 8:05, I was like in trouble.
Is it hard to understand because you're saying we don't get to work at 8 o'clock?
No, because it's hard to understand that I ever made it at 8 because I hate that. Anyway, I had extreme morning sickness. It was tough. So I remember saying to my husband, I'm going to get fired because I've been so sick. And he laughed at me like, they're not going to fire you because you have morning sickness. And I'm like, well, they're not happy about it. Like you said, I had client meetings. I had to reschedule. I remember trying to get a client as late as I could to meet with her, and it would be 9:30, and I was still like, oh, I don't feel well. And I didn't have anyone to kind of cover for me either. I was an account manager at an agency, and it was tough. And then we were a small group just like here, and I'm in the bathroom down the hall throwing up.
Yeah.
And my coworkers can hear me, and all I wanted to do was to go home.
Yeah.
It was hard. I ended up actually stopping, like going home 1 month early. And then I had a hard time at the end even. And I'm just like, I need to be done. But the guilt, all the guilt. Like, I should be taking care of my body, but I was worried about work and that type of thing. So that was hard. Now, having said that, when I did have my kids, I was able to work some at home and a lesser schedule, which is no big deal now. It was a big deal then.
Yeah.
It was a big deal. And he told me if anyone could do it, I would figure it out. And so I was appreciative of that. It really wasn't less work. I just was able to go home at noon and do my work later. But it was still a flexible schedule a lot of people didn't have. So.
Yeah.
And I could do, some of my work at home. And we didn't have laptops then. I had a desktop at home. I had a little iMac. And had an email for home. And I had an email for work. And, so it was kind of like the first part of people working at home. But, my boss did let me do that. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's really
Nobody
cool.
else could do it. So there was resentment with my team.
Yeah.
That wasn't really cool. But, I did that. And I was usually the one that had to stay home with the kids, too. I would fight about, my husband would punch a clock, but my work would wait for me. I'm like, okay, the kids are sick. I'm with them all day. They go to bed, and now I'm working.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. And, but, he worked for the government, and it was hard for him to get off, too. So it was hard.
Yeah.
If I think back, it was really hard, but we made it work.
Yeah. Yeah, you always do.
Yep.
How have things maybe changed for you as a working mother as your kids have gotten older?
I was going to say, too, I remember taking them to preschool, and we were talking about that because you live out of town.
Yeah.
I would seriously have to drop them off at 9:30. I'd get to work 9:45, and at 11:15, I'd have to leave and go pick them up and then drive them to daycare. I mean, all morning I was basically driving these kids. I used to set an alarm so I wouldn't forget them.
Yeah.
Because I hardly would be there, but I had to go in and kind of show my face type of thing. But spending a lot of my day running kids, and then popping in and do work, which isn't great for your concentration or try to get things done. I was able to do that, so I appreciated that. That was important to me for them to go to preschool and do all that. As I got older, I mean, it was easier, but I do remember this time when everyone was cutting cords. Everyone was getting rid of their phones.
Sure.
And my husband got rid of our landline. But my kids didn't have cell phones.
Yeah.
They were little. And so I would come home with them. I would meet them at home off the bus at 3 o'clock or whatever it was back then. And I remember being late and them standing on and they had the key or whatever. But somehow they got locked out, and it was cold.
Oh.
And I remember them, sitting on, at least they had each other, and they were on the porch, and got home, and I'm like, that's it. They need cell phones. You got rid of the phone. For one thing, they couldn't call me from the phone outside.
Right.
But I just felt that safety thing was huge. And so I remember, and it was just a year into my first business, and I remember my employees saying, Ryan and Maya got iPhones before we did. Because it was 2010 and they got iPhone 3s or whatever because I get them through work. Each had a little iPhone to call me. Anyway, that was funny. So things like that, just to stay connected. But we didn't have phones and stuff then.
Yeah.
And, and I didn't have any family in town to watch them after school or whatever. So anyways, I did the whole flexible schedule type of thing. So I'm trying to take care of kids and get my work done at the same time. So when it got older, they were just at school more, right?
Yeah.
And they could be home alone after school. I didn't have to come home. But I did pick them up a lot, and I did go home a lot and work at home last couple hours.
Do you feel like once you started your first agency and you were your own boss, that things got harder or easier in terms of being a working parent or that flexibility to be able to do stuff?
I think with both, there was resentment from teammates of she's just going home and she's not doing anything. And they had no idea I'm working all night.
Yeah.
All night long, literally. But, I didn't really care. I mean, it was what I was doing. And then when my business partner had her baby, I told her to do the same thing. Go pick up your kids and go home for the rest of the day, Again, it's tough when you're working in a team and people are like, you get to do this and I don't get to do that. And I don't really like that.
Yeah, I guess I can't speak for everybody, but I feel like our team.
Yeah, it depends on the team.
Yeah.
If we want to flash forward, because I had that flexibility, I let everyone like kind of set their own schedule. So I think, half of us come in later and work later, and probably half of us come in early and work early or leave early, and some of us come in late and leave early, and that doesn't really work. Anyway, daycares they want their kids picked up early.
Yeah.
Not like it used to be.
Yeah, that's definitely been like a challenge. I know, both of us kind of have that. Your kids are out of daycare.
Yeah,
now
but they start school early. And
yeah. Do they do wraparound care? Or do they get picked up right after school?
They've been getting picked up right after school.
Okay.
And so does Missy have to stop working and watch them?
She switched her schedule around. So,
home.
Yep, she works from home, and we kind of tag team drop-offs in the morning. She usually takes one, and I take Margot, the younger one. And, and then she picks them up around 2. So she picks them both up every day. Unless I'm off on a Friday or something, I pick them up.
Does she have to work after that, or is she?
No, she's like she's been a 0.8, like employed as like a 0.8 for like 4 or 5 years or something.
Oh.
So she normally had Fridays off, but since they started school, she works every day.
But
gets off.
But gets out,
gets off a couple hours.
That's
early,
super nice that
Yeah,
she's able
super
to do
nice.
that. You guys don't have to pay for wraparound care.
Well,
Yeah, so we did.
We
Did last year. So she just did this when they started school.
Yeah.
So she'd have Fridays off, and we had daycare, which we'd have to pick up by 4:30, and then Cosette, who was in kindergarten, would go to Kids Stop or whatever,
Yeah.
and we could pick her up. I mean, we never did, but I think they can stay there till 6 o'clock, which is a really long day for a kindergarten.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
say. I never wanted my kids to stay at wraparound care because they're exhausted. They're tired and they're hungry. And so I would, pick them up when they did take the bus, and I would meet them at home. They were too little to be home alone, but they just are just more comfortable at home.
Yeah,
I know.
we've tried all the things, sending Cozy on the bus, letting her ride the bus home. There's issues with that, something with, older
Yeah.
kids. And,
Yeah, right? Yeah.
And,
One, your sweet little angel.
Well,
Yeah.
my
Ruined
son
by
had a
the
hard time on the bus, and so I used to start taking them and stuff too. And so I think we all have different schedules.
Yeah.
right?
And that's hard to make those decisions and what you're going to do because, like, for us, for example, I live 37 minutes away from the office, but I don't get to just come to work. I have to drop my daughter off at daycare, then I have to drop my son off at school. So it's usually an hour round trip. And because of where we live and where our son's going to school now, he does have to do the wraparound care. And then we still have to drive a half hour home after school. So it's just like a long day. So not only is it hard for the parents, like your kids are also having to go through the motions of what it's like to have parents that maybe aren't at home with them all the time.
Does he fall asleep on the way home?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
The first couple weeks of school, he definitely did. But the last couple weeks, he's been good. I know his uncle picked him up last week, and he sent me a picture, and he was passed out. So I think it just depends on the day. But he also has fun at wraparound care, and we went back and forth, like, does he go to daycare? Does he just stay there? And I think that, there's more kids that are his age at wraparound care than at daycare. So, like, it's all these things that, like, all these decisions that we're juggling and, how to figure that out. One thing I kind of wanted to talk about, and I feel like it's maybe a little bit interesting in our case, and I kind of think it's actually for, like, even Michael and Brittany would probably be very similar. None of us really have close family around here.
Michael does.
His mom, I guess, does come and hang out with his little guy. But okay, so not Michael, and I suppose Brittany's mother-in-law lives around here too, but I don't, and I know Kelly doesn't.
Mo
You-
does,
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
not like right next door though. A lot of people.
yeah.
I feel like, oh my God, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
I don't know
we
anything.
We have Missy's brother's family.
Forget
mostly.
about
But even
uncles.
if you had family, they're your kids, and they
Yeah.
want you. You have to
Yeah,
go pick them up,
Yeah.
and then you have to
Yeah.
take them to school.
But it's just, I think people are always like, oh, your support system, lean on your village. And, the grandparents can do this. And it's like, well, not everybody has the ability to
Yeah.
just like have your grandparents be able to do something. So it does fall back on the parents a lot. And then the village that you help create. And this kind of goes back to like the top of the episode when I was saying like I needed help. And my coworkers were who I reached out to, and we've created a lot of like close friends and stuff that will help when we
Well,
need it.
I have a
But-
grandson,
Yes, you do have a grandson.
but I'm still
Yeah.
working.
Yeah.
And so when
Yeah.
Ed's daughter says, "Oh, I need help," well, we're young grandparents. We
Yeah.
still have our careers. We're
Yeah,
not just
right.
home. And
Yeah.
so grandparents aren't, even if they live close, they're kind of busy.
Yeah, they're not the end all be all. And,
Right.
so there's like flip of the coin that you're on the younger side or you're on the older side. One of your friends I've talked to, she's a little bit older, she's retired, and she has a bunch of grandkids, and she's like, I will only keep them for, like 4 hours. And then I'm like, I'm tapped out,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's a lot of people that expect like, oh, you have that, so you're fine. And it's like, well, that's not really
No.
how it goes.
Everyone's
so.
juggling, I think, whether
Yeah.
you think so or not.
Yeah. Yeah, our parents are on the verge of retiring.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're like, yes.
Yes.
We-
And
we-
they love, it seems like Missy's mom loves to hang out with you. Like
she
she goes
helps
on
out.
trips with you.
Yeah, she
and
comes and helps out a lot.
Nanny granny.
Yeah.
Granny nanny.
Yeah. We'll bring her on trips, and like even today, Missy has a meeting and we have a chamber event.
Oh, yeah.
So Missy's mom is going to pick the girls up from school.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
So we do get some help.
Yeah.
And it is really nice.
Yeah, it definitely makes a difference. So Mo, one of the questions one of the things that I kind of want to talk to you specifically about, because I do think in our society, unfortunately, a lot of that, I don't want to use the word parenting because that's not where I'm going. But if you have, dual working families, a lot of it does fall back on the mom to do those things. And I do think that you work really hard to make it not be that way. Yes, we were just talked about, okay, Missy's schedule, maybe she's a little bit more flexible in certain situations. And I mean, Kelly is like a crazy flexible boss. So, we're good there. But what are some things that you maybe do or try to do to support Missy as a working mom?
Just whatever she tells me to.
I think there's a lot of dads that don't work out of town that help.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
lucky enough that I work close.
Yes, I mean, isn't that part of finding a job too? I mean,
Yeah.
I think we probably all can make a little bit more money in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
who wants to drive
Yeah.
and do that, right?
And it worked out. I mean, it's worked out so far. Daycare, I brought both girls to daycare in the morning. So she never really had to do that.
That's a
Yeah.
huge thing because I'm a working mom, but also like 6 months out of the year, I'm kind of like a solo parent,
Yeah,
like,
you have it all.
Tyler is out of town, Monday through Thursday afternoon. So I am doing everything. And so even just like those drop-offs is so nice. I know last week he's been back home the last couple weeks and he was like, oh, I can pick up Nellie if you want me to. And I didn't have to ask him to do that. And
You're like, what?
I
Oh
sent
my
him a text
God.
later that day and I was like, I just want to let you know that meant so much to me that you just like offered to do that without me saying, hey, could you do this? And he was like, oh, wow, okay. But
So do it again.
Yeah, right.
Do
I'm
it
like,
again,
I'm
Tyler.
telling you this so you remember. So that might seem like a little thing to you
Yeah.
to like pick up and drop off your kids and like I'm the dad.
Yeah.
Like I can be doing that, but it means a lot.
I think too, from my perspective, we have girls, so the girls tend to want mom more
Yeah.
than me for the most part.
I think
And,
that's all kids. I have one of each and I don't know.
Yeah.
and so like she brings them to gymnastics, and there's certain things that I would bring Kosi to BMX because I just like doing
and
that
that's
with
like
her.
your thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
you guys do.
But when she's not doing that, like she started hockey and doesn't want me to bring. But I went
Yeah.
this last week and just love
Oh my
watching
gosh,
it. and-
Cozy on little skates.
Oh, it's
So
awesome.
cute.
Yeah.
They have to be comfortable with both parents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and last year I didn't bring or pick Kosi up from school. Like it was rarely
Mm-hmm.
that I did that, but when I did, it was like I liked doing it a lot. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's good.
so I think he probably feels like he's missing out
Yeah,
a little bit.
and
even.
he's
Yeah.
and I know that, and we talk about that, because obviously like when we go in spurts of like it's been 3 months of this, like I get to a breaking point where like I'm frustrated, and he's like, it's not easy on me either. I'm like, I know it's not, that's not what
Well,
I'm
he takes
saying.
Colt
like,
to the bar.
Yeah. Kelly.
Someone has to.
I meant the restaurant
He does take Colt to the bar.
for a hamburger.
Yeah, for a burger and a kitty cocktail.
I have something I want to talk about, if that's okay.
of
What's on your
course.
list?
No,
Well, I was just thinking of you
Mm-hmm.
and Mo and Brittany and Michael. Those are all our working parents,
Yeah.
right? Have all had kind of some, I don't say extreme, but some things that have happened that,
Mm-hmm.
or I've had to say, go, it's more important. And I'm not like saying because I'm such a great person,
Yeah.
but just because life happens.
Yeah.
I remember one of Michael's first day, he was getting phone calls, and Kelly had to take Johnny to the hospital. He had pneumonia. It might have been Michael's like second day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, go. And he's like, oh, I'm like, just go. That's where you need to be, And then I remember when he came back, because Michael's a real big guy, 6.5, and Johnny was just a little guy then, and he was wrapped around Michael like this, and Michael's working. like a monkey. You know what I mean? It was so, cute. I remember that. And then I remember
Johnny probably still looked that way.
Yeah,
He's
for
still
somebody
string
really
bean.
tall.
Yeah.
And then I know with you, it was like your first day. You got
My
a call?
very first day, Colt was sick.
Yeah, and I'm like, just go, like,
Yeah.
because at this point now, it's like, just what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, just go, you know. And I think
Yeah.
I've told you, what are we working for anyway?
Yeah. Yeah.
If work is more important, then what are we working for?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. You've also been this, I had a pregnancy loss between my kids. And like, I remember when that happened and you were very great to be like, take care of yourself. But then you also did a really good job of being like, well, do you think that, coming back would, help? And it absolutely did. And like, sometimes, you need that like push and pull too. So you were great during that.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah. And then I still remember, I mean, I don't remember being great. And, and Brittany had like her dad was really sick.
Yeah.
And she had a hard time of it. Her dad was sick. She was going through pregnancy, being sick with pregnancy. And it just seemed like for the longest time, it was like, is Britt coming in today?
Yeah.
And when that happens, I'm not like, oh, it's like, what's wrong? Does Britt need help?
Yeah.
For me, I always take it from a human perspective. I feel like because I know when I don't feel well, I don't want to come to work.
Right.
And so, reaching out and like finding out, do you want to work?
Yeah.
Can you work?
Yeah.
Are you coming in today? And sometimes even when you guys say I'm not feeling well, I'm like, okay, resting or working at home?
Yeah.
And I hate to ask that, but I just want to know.
Yeah.
Like, if you need to rest.
Right.
You don't have to work at home.
Yeah.
I try to always ask that because I don't want it to be an expectation. Because sometimes you're just gross and you want to be at home.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to lay down.
And that's
You
also
gotta
just
sleep.
like the push and pull of what we do, because we can do our things from home, but that doesn't always mean that we should, right? Like if we just need to
No.
like rest, or if our kids are sick and we just need to, that was a huge thing for me. I had to take after having Nelly, kind of like take a full shift on that, because my first, I could work with him from home like pretty easily.
Not with two.
He was like pretty chill and like fine. My daughter, no, like Nelly is not like that. Like I get my computer out and she's like, she's over here playing with her kitchen and she's like, Mommy just pulled out her computer. I heard it. Like, you need to run over there, And so
now you have two to watch.
Yeah. And so I had to just be like, during their awake time, like I'm just not working. I'm, going to focus on them or clean the house or whatever. And then I just work at night. And so like you have to find that, balance, but it's okay to just shut it down if you're not feeling well, your kids aren't feeling well, or all
Yeah,
these
and
things.
I'm asking because I really want to know.
Yeah.
Am I pushing
Yeah.
your projects or not?
Yeah.
And now Mo had a time where he needed to be at home for an extended period of time too. I remember getting a call a year ago that my adult son needed he had a mental health issue, and I didn't know if I was going to, drop everything and drive up there, but just mentally I couldn't work that day.
Yeah.
And so the point is, everybody, whether you're a parent or not, life happens and you're going to have something you need time off for, and you shouldn't be made to feel terrible about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to let your team know, I'm going to get it done, or no, please reassign it.
Yeah.
Or, can we reschedule, or, or whatever. We kind of need that communication.
Right.
I think it helps too, like with the maternity stuff. When you hired me here, I was going to cover for Brittany because she was going to be out on maternity leave. And then this last time, we hired a part-time designer to cover for her. And I just can imagine that even makes her feel more comfortable, being able to not have to rush back, or like her mind doesn't have to be on work at all.
Well,
She's
it shouldn't be.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I remember when someone in our office had a baby, and I had a young account assistant, and she's like, well, can so-and-so help? She's just at home. Can so-and-so help? And I said, let me tell you what so-and-so's doing.
Doing right now, yeah. Yeah, so-and-so is not just sitting on her butt watching TV.
Yeah, I had a hard time being home with a baby because I was just like a go career person, and I had a really hard time doing that. But now it's, I wish I didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it might have been easier if I had that support, but
Yeah.
I just, family has to come first. I mean, it just does.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and I tell people all the time, because there can be like weird narratives that are pushed, especially on social media, like, oh, you're letting other people raise your kids. And I just like want to punch those people in the throat because it drives me up the wall. Who I am as a human being, like I need to have a career to focus on so I can be a better mom. And I need to have my kids to focus on so I can be better at my career. Like I'm a better person because I have a job and because I have children. I don't think that you have to pick one or the other. And you do a great job of promoting that. you as a team member do a great job of promoting that.
I mean, and that's the thing too. I mean, we have to have enough team members to cover. I mean, that's kind of happened to us, at the beginning of the year. If we're too busy that nobody can get sick, then I think we need to make some changes too, right?
Colt was definitely pretty easy to watch. My kids would not have just watched a movie for 2 hours.
Well, I don't know if
We
it's
love when
that
the
or-
little ones come though
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, it's so fun when
Yeah,
the kids are here.
we get them to draw something.
Yeah.
We have a little kids table in the back. They
Yeah.
can play or watch an iPad or whatever. And
I take my computer out at home all the time, and they think it's hilarious to push the off button while I'm working. They just come over and I'm working, they push it, and then it, goes to sleep, and then I have to
yeah.
push it to start it, and then they push it. They just will not stop.
I was going to piggyback off what you said about you're a better parent and the kids and
Yeah.
all that. With having done this and being a little bit older than you guys, is that my kids were incredibly proud that I worked and that I had my own business, and they still are.
Yeah.
And then when I ended up getting divorced, they realized I was going to be able to take care of myself and still
Yeah.
take care of them. I'll ask them about work, and they'll ask me about work, and it's kind of cool now to be on that
Yeah.
end of it. But when they saw our first Moxie billboard, they thought that was, Ryan's like, where is that? And then they had to get in the car, and they went and found it at Christmas,
That's
and
so cute.
You know what? And they're just incredibly proud. They need to see that too, that mommy works too, and
Yeah.
daddy works too, and and then you're important, but we all have our things to do, and they have to kind of sometimes soothe themselves, or
Yeah,
or
yeah,
like you'll say,
absolutely.
like, I need to talk.
Yeah.
I'm on the phone. I
Yeah,
need to
my
talk.
kids will still yell at,
They'll yell at me.
Nelly,
'cause they
hi,
want-
Kelly.
Yeah, and I love that. But I mean, they learn that. My
Yeah.
kids learned that. My kids knew that they were gonna go to college and they were gonna get a job and do the same thing. And it's a good role model for
Yeah.
for them too, to see that everybody contributes to the family.
Yeah. No,
I don't know
I
if
agree.
anybody can stay home anymore with everything costs.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, some people do, and I don't.
And it's
I
a
don't know
luxury.
how.
They
Yeah.
can do that.
Yeah.
I worked part-time for a while, but yeah, I don't think I'd be good at, I'd be making up businesses or something at home. I wouldn't be good.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't.
do it.
Yeah, you would not be. You would not be. Oh, wonderful. Well, thanks, guys, for indulging my little topic of choice. You both know that this is something that I really enjoy talking about. I share a lot about it on my LinkedIn and, those experiences and stuff. So it was fun to just chit chat with you guys about it. I think it is important for other working parents to hear from other working parents, because it can feel like a really lonely place sometimes, or feel like you might be
Right.
failing, or,
Yeah.
not living up to your potential on both ends. And that's usually not the case.
Right.
So, well, with that, we will leave you, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Behind the Brand. If you liked this episode, share it with a friend. If you didn't, share it with an enemy. To keep up with us, follow along on our socials. Links are in the show notes below.